Imagine opening your eyes for the first time and finding yourself in the middle of a gigantic ancient ocean. No land in sight, no safe corner, just water in every direction. And somehow, even before anything attacks you, you already know this place is dangerous. Congratulations, you're a Mosasaurus. At first, that sounds incredible. You grow fast, and before long, you turn into one of the most terrifying predators on the planet. We're talking 40 to 60 feet long, all muscle, all teeth, built to hunt. And just to clear this up right away, you are not a dinosaur. You're a giant marine reptile, basically a seagoing relative of snakes and monitor lizards. So somehow, evolution looked at a land reptile and said, you know what would make this worse for everyone else? Turn it into an underwater nightmare. Your body is absurdly well designed for hunting. You've got paddle-like limbs for steering, a powerful tail for speed, and a streamlined body that lets you glide through the water like a living torpedo. On paper, you should be the perfect life. But here's the problem. It only looks perfect from the outside. Because even if you're one of the most powerful predators in the ocean, your life is still non-stop stress. You still have to hunt constantly, you still have to compete, you still have to survive in an environment where literally everything is trying to eat, escape, or outcompete something else. And the ocean does not care how big and scary you are. That's the first reason it sucks to be a Mosasaurus. You may be powerful, but you are never actually safe. You see, people hear apex predator and imagine some untouchable king of the sea just cruising around like nothing can happen to it. That's not how this works. Being at the top of the food chain doesn't mean life gets easy, it means every meal matters, every injury matters, and every mistake matters. If you miss a hunt, that's energy wasted. If you get hurt, that can be the beginning of the end. If another predator decides to challenge you, you don't get to opt out. And yes, sometimes that predator is another Mosasaurus. That's right, your own kind is one of your biggest problems. Larger Mosasaurus would absolutely go after smaller ones, and fossil evidence suggests cannibalism happened. So, even when you're dealing with the normal horrors of ancient ocean life, you've also got to worry about the fact that your oversized reptile cousin might decide you look like lunch. Imagine being one of the most terrifying predators on Earth and still not being able to trust your own species. That's rough, and it gets worse. Your jaws are basically a trap with muscles attached. They're lined with sharp conical teeth made for grabbing slippery prey, and you've even got an extra set of teeth on the roof of your mouth. Pterygoid teeth to help pull struggling prey deeper in so it can't escape. Which sounds awesome, unless you think about what it means. It means your whole existence is built around hunting. You don't get to relax, you don't get to stop. You are a machine designed to chase, grab, crush, and swallow. Turtles, fish, ammonites, seabirds, smaller marine reptiles. Whatever you can catch is on the menu. And if you don't catch something, too bad, go burn more energy trying again. So yes, you're strong, your bite is devastating. You can overpower most animals around you. But power has a downside. The stronger and more successful you are, the more of a target you become. Because in a world of giant predators, dominance is never permanent. There is always something else out there trying to take your spot, steal your food, or test whether you are still worth fearing. And unlike a crocodile hiding in a riverbank or a predator stalking through cover, you are living in open water. That means no hiding, no trees, no rocks, no real shelter. If something sees you, it sees you. You're out there in the open, exposed from every direction, hunting in a world where danger can come from below, from beside you, or from the surface overhead. You might be fast, but speed only helps if you notice the threat in time. And in the ancient ocean, hesitation is a terrible plan. Now, for a while, you actually do pretty well. More than well, honestly, you dominate. Mosasaurus became some of the top marine predators of the late Cretaceous. You came from smaller land-dwelling ancestors, and over time, your whole body transformed for ocean life. That's an incredible evolutionary glow-up. But staying on top is exhausting because the environment around you keeps changing. And that leads to one of the wildest parts of your story. Apparently, near the end, some of you may have started pushing into freshwater rivers, which is insane. Because for the longest time, the idea of a giant marine predator showing up in freshwater sounds like the setup to a bad prehistoric horror movie. But then scientists found a mosasaur tooth in what used to be a freshwater floodplain in North Dakota. Not an ocean deposit, a freshwater environment. And nearby were fossils from animals that lived on land and in rivers, including a Tyrannosaurus rex tooth and a crocodilian jawbone. That should not have been a normal combination. So researchers looked closer. They studied isotopes in the mosasaur tooth, basically chemical signatures locked into it during life. And those results pointed to something big. This animal probably wasn't just washed inland after death, it was living there in fresh water. So now imagine you're a dinosaur walking down to the river for a drink, and instead of just worrying about crocodile-like ambush predators, there's also the possibility that a killer whale-sized lizard is lurking below the surface. That's horrifying. And for you, the Mosasaurus, it sounds like a win. New hunting grounds, new food sources, new ways to survive. Maybe you're feeding closer to the surface. Maybe you're taking advantage of carcasses or animals that fall into the water. Maybe you're adapting better than people used to think. But adaptation does not mean comfort. It just means the world is changing and you're scrambling to keep up. That's really the theme of your whole existence. You're huge, you're deadly, you're highly specialized. And still, nothing is guaranteed. Not your next meal, not your place in the food chain, not even your habitat. Because while you're out there ruling the seas and maybe even invading rivers, the entire planet is moving toward disaster. Late Cretaceous ecosystems were under pressure, oceans were shifting, food webs were changing, environments were becoming unstable. And no matter how successful you were in the moment, you were still trapped inside a system you couldn't control. That's the part people forget about top predators. They look invincible right up until the world they depend on starts falling apart. And when that happens, all the size, speed, and bite force in the world can't save you, because eventually your time runs out. The oceans you dominated for millions of years collapse into chaos. The ecosystem you relied on disappear. The rules change faster than you can adapt. And just like that, one of the greatest marine predators in Earth's history is gone. And that's what really makes being a Mosasaurus suck. You can do everything right. You can be stronger than almost everything around you, faster than most of your prey, more terrifying than nearly anything else in the water. And it still won't be enough. Because nature doesn't hand out permanent victories. It doesn't matter if you're the apex predator. It doesn't matter if you conquer the ocean. It doesn't even matter if you manage to expand into rivers and become an even bigger problem for everything around you. Eventually, the planet decides your run is over, and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, being a Mosasaurus sounds awesome at first. You're massive, you're powerful, you're basically a living sea monster. But your life is also non-stop pressure. From rivals, from your own species, from a brutal environment, and from an entire world changing underneath you. You were built to dominate. You just weren't built to last forever. And that's exactly why it sucked to be a prehistoric Mosasaurus. So, be honest, if you got dropped into the Cretaceous as a Mosasaurus, do you think you'd survive? Or would you end up as somebody else's lunch? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you like these What It Sucks to Be survival stories, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.